मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। It's a blissful morning this morning. Thank you for your presence in this glorification of a sweet Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to be reading from second canto, 10th chapter and 10th verse. So with this, I will share my screen. Share screen. So I hope you can see the screen. So this has been an exciting journey. The first two cantos is considered the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, and there's been a lot of topics, lot of emphasis on Bhakti, and Bhagavan was, and also Bhakta also, was elaborately discussed in the first canto. And the second canto starts with Sukadeva Goswami's presence, and he has been answering questions to Emperor Parikshit, left and right actually. And there's been a lot of technical discussion. So basically, in the previous canto, Maharaj Parikshit asks, what is it that one should hear, chant, and remember? What is it? What one should hear, chant, and remember? And also, what is it that one should not hear, chant, and remember? And Sutta Goswami nicely says in the first chapter of this canto that he says, let me go back. What one should not hear, chant, and remember is that he tells about what one should not hear, chant, and remember. And then he says, what one should hear, chant, and remember is that this verse, Etha nirvidyamanan echitam akutobhayam yoginam nirnitam harer naman kirtanam. He basically says it's all about what one should hear and chant, remember is it's all about Krishna, and anything else, no. And he also explains other process of self-realization. So while this discussion is going on, there was also questions put by Maharaj Parikshit when Sukadeva Goswami mentioned about meditation on Paramatma as or the bonfire process of Dharana Ashraya. So Maharaj Parikshit asked the question, could you please tell more about it? And the further questions, then Sukadeva Goswami goes on next couple of chapters. And again Maharaj Parikshit asked the question, could you please tell more about it? He asked multiple questions actually. He asked, anything he can remember, and he also says anything that I don't know, please cover everything. So part of this question is again Virat Rupa comes. So Sukadeva Goswami have been like very nicely, wonderfully answering all the questions, and he comes to this this verse, which is the this one, yeah, 10th verse, which is the today's verse, and he starts answering a different question. So we're going to see what is Sukadeva Goswami answering, what is it about. Actually, this verse has a little controversy, or this section basically because this Sukadeva Goswami is going to start about Virat Rupa, and the question is, come on, we already went through it 2 times already in the same canto. Why the third time? And Prabhupada explains very nicely. It's a very long purport. It's technical, but there is a very sweet ending there. Okay, so with that, we will start this 10th verse. Purushandam vinirbidya yada sav sa vinigraha atmanoya anam anvichan apo srakshit suchihi. So Purusha, the Supreme Person, the Paramatma, Vinirbidya, he divides them, he makes the universes that come out of this body, he divides them, Yadaso Sam Vinigrahataha, that which that has come from his body, Atmano Yanam Anvichan. So he has a specific plan. The specific plan is he desires to enter into this universe and then lie in that water. Apo is the water. Srakshi Shuchi Suchihi. So we will read the verse again. Purusha andam vinirbidya yada sausa vinigataha atmanoyanam anvichan apo srakshi Shuchi Suchihi. Synonyms. Purushaha, the Supreme Person, Paramatma. Andam, the universes. Vinirbidya, making them each separately situated. Yada, when. Asav, the same. Saha, he, the Lord. Vinirgataha, came out. Atmanaha, of himself. Ayanam, lying in place. Anvichan, desiring. Apaha, water. Asrakshit, created. Suchihi, the most pure. Suchihi, transcendental. So here in this verse, we get a clue, and actually will be more elaborately expanded in the future verses of this section. That the intention, the reason for the description of Virat Rupa in this canto has been there are different reasons. So in the first chapter, the reason for describing Virat Rupa is to establish Dharanashraya and basically Paramatma as the source. And then again I believe in the 7th chapter, when Lord Brahma was explained to Narada Muni, he explains about this universal form and the whole creation. So that time he wants to emphasize the source of everything in this world. And this section, the reason for saying about Virat Rupa in this section is the Lord has a desire, and it will be further elaborated. The Lord have this desire because all of the souls that has come to this world has different desire. Actually, I will go a little technical. So when Vishnu sees at the Pradhan, when he sends the glance, with the glance, he sends the jiva, the souls that doesn't want to stay in the spiritual world, and also their desires and their karma, swabhava and karma. So that glance, very wonderful, very powerful glance, very, very powerful actually. The glance penetrates into the pradhan, and pradhan is like a warehouse. It only collects whatever is needed as per the swabhava and karma of the jivas that is coming, and as per the time. It only takes whatever is needed. So that's how it goes. And then then further manifest. So when all of the elements gets manifested, the devatas or the presiding deities of those elements, they don't know what to do. They got created and they don't know what to do, and then they praise to Vishnu. I think again seventh. I'm not remembering the chapters, but in the previous verses there is prayers by devatas, very wonderful prayers. So there, devatas pray to Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu sends this energy called Vibrat Shakti or cohesive energy, like the energy that enables the combining thing. He sends the combining energy. So then they all form into the anda, the egg, and then lying there. So seeing this, Mahavishnu expand. This is the verse that was telling. Seeing this, Mahavishnu expands into that anda as a Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and he is expanding into that as a Garbhodaksha Vishnu and enters the anda, because although the elements are created, still they are lifeless little bit. So he's going to get everything into action after the Lord Brahma comes and so on. So that's a little bit, technology background. So the translation, after separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha avatar, entered into each of the separated universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka. I'll go slowly again, okay? After separating the different universes, many universes come out of his body. The gigantic universal form of the Lord Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha avatar, entered into each of the separate universe, desiring to lie in the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka. So now in the purport, Prabhupada emphasizes more on the why this Virat rupa explanation again. So Prabhupada doesn't explain much about this verse, but why. So Prabhupada basically says, Sukadeva Goswami explained the difference between the Lord and the living entities, and now Sukadeva Goswami wants to present the process of devotion service, and that's the reason he was mentioning this Virat rupa explanation. But then there the question comes: why don't Sukadeva Goswami present in the sweet pastimes of Krishna? Then that can help the devotion, invoke the devotion, and promote devotion service very nicely and easily. But these are all the wonderful souls. They know much better than what we can perceive. Like how the children doesn't know much about the plans of parents. So that's the topic 6. We're going to explore a detailed manner in this purport. So I'll be going slowly and just give you some summary and then move forward. After analysis of the living entities and the Supreme Lord Paramatma, the independent source of all other living beings, Sukadeva Goswami is now presenting the prime necessity for devotional service to the Lord, which is the only occupational business of all living entities. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna and his plenary portions and expansions of plenary portions are not different from one another, and thus the supreme independence is in each and every one of them. In order to prove this, Sukadeva Goswami, as promised to King Parikshit, describes herein the independence of the Purusha Avatar, personality of Godhead, even in the sphere of material creation. That's the key. It's a material creation, the Lord's presence in this material creation and his control over it. Such activities of the Lord are also transcendental. Therefore, they are also Leela or pastimes of the absolute Lord. Such pastimes of the Lord are very conducive to the hearers of self-realization in the field of devotional service. But Some may argue, then why not release the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which is sweeter than anything in the world? So that's a main trigger for this discussion. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to creation, maintenance, and destruction are very relishable by prakruta or mundane devotees of the Lord. So something actually Kentyagi Mata's discussion triggered me a lot from the last session I had. It has stayed on my mind. Like Mataji said, like I want to see Krishna simply. But this philosophy, is a little bit hard to understand. I mean, I guess I understood Mata's discussion properly. So that really has been on my mind all these last couple of weeks, and it really brought me to the summary. Yes, understanding the Lord, and his sweet pastimes is the essence. Being with the Lord is essence. Then why this philosophy? Then the thing that helped me understand is two part. One part is I'm able to see my own family members and my neighbors and all other people as related to Krishna. That's one part. Like basically, I'm able to have the divine vision when I'm interacting with everyone else in this world, what to speak of devotees, right? So even Guru, devotees, Krishna, maybe we have little bit divine, maybe little less for Guru and much less for devotees, and no vision no divine vision, at least for other living entities. So that's one part. And the second part is, am I still struggling in my Krishna consciousness, not able to keep up my Krishna consciousness, or am I still absorbed a lot in the material affairs? So therefore, that kind of gives clarity for this topic. So some may argue, why not release the transcendental Leela of the Lord as exhibited in the land of Mathura and Vrindavan, which is sweeter than anything in the world? Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur replies that the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan are meant to be relished by advanced devotees of the Lord. Neophyte devotees will misunderstand such supreme transcendental activities of the Lord, and therefore the Lord's pastimes in the material sphere related to creation, maintenance, and destruction are verily relishable by prakruta or mundane devotees of the Lord. As a yoga system mainly based on bodily exercises is meant for the person who is too much attached to the bodily conception of existence, similarly, the Lord's pastimes related to the creation and destruction of the material world are for those who are too materially attached. For such mundane creatures, the functions of the body and the functions of cosmic world through physical laws in relationship with the Lord are also therefore included in understanding of the lawmaker, the Supreme Personality Godhead. This is the secret. We need to see Krishna, even so-called mundane affairs or material affairs and so on. We are not seeing it, so then we need to little bit go deeper in our devotion service or study of understanding the lawmaker or devotion service and so on. For example, the scientist may explain the material functions by so many technological terms of material law, but such blind scientists forget the lawmaker. The Srimad Bhagavatam points out the lawmaker. One should not be amazed by the mechanical arrangement of the complicated engine or dynamo, but one should praise the engineer who creates such a wonderful working machine. That is the difference between the devotee and the non-devotee. Devotees are always full with praising the Lord who directs the physical laws. In Bhagavad Gita 9:10, the direction of the Lord upon the material nature is described as follows. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kauntaya jagat viparivartate. The material nature, full of physical laws, is one of my different energies. Therefore, it is neither independent nor blind. Because I am transcendently all powerful, simply by glancing over material nature, the physical laws of nature work so wonderfully. The actions and reactions of the physical laws work on that account, and thus the material world is created, maintained, and annihilated again and again. So that's a secret, dear Prabhujis and Matajis. We are not able to remember Krishna, or others say we are forgetting Krishna, or others say actually we get entangled in non-Krishna world, though we are trying very hard. So that's what Sukadeva Goswami and Bhagavatam trying to help us cross that barrier and come to the complete transcendental platform. So men with the poor fund of knowledge, however, become astonished by studying the physical laws, both within the construction of the individual body and within the cosmic manifestation. Foolishly, they decry the existence of God, taking it for granted that the physical laws are independent without any metaphysical control. This is another extreme. One extreme is, we don't worry about it, don't pay attention. Another extreme is you pay attention, but you lose Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 9.11 replies to this foolishness in the following words. Avajananti ma muda manushim tanumashritam parambhava majananto mamabhuta maheswaram. The foolish man, Muda, do not know the personality Godhead in his eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The foolish man thinks of the transcendental body of the Lord as something like his own, and therefore he cannot think of the unlimited controlling power of the Lord, who is not visible in the acting of the physical laws. The Lord is, however, visible to the naked eyes of people in general when he descends himself by his own personal potency. The Lord Krishna incarnated himself as he is and played very wonderful patterns as the Lord himself, and the Bhagavad Gita concerns such wonderful actions and knowledge. Yet, foolish men will not accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Generally, they consider the infinitesimal and infinite features of the Lord because they themselves are unable to become either the infinitesimal or the infinite. But one should know that the infinite and infinitesimal sizes of the Lord are not his highest glories, as Kiran Madhi was telling. The most wonderful manifestation of the Lord's power is exhibited when the infinite Lord becomes visible to our eyes as one of us. Yet, his activities are different from those of the finite beings. Lifting a mountain at the age of 7 years and marrying 16,000 wives in the prime of his youth are some of the examples of his infinite energy. But the Mudas, after seeing them or hearing about them, decry them as legendary and take the Lord as one of them. That's the main offense, right? That's the main root cause of all the offenses. They cannot understand that the Lord Shri Krishna, although in the form of a human being by his own potency, is still the Supreme Lord with full potency as a Supreme Controller. Last paragraph. When, however, the Mudas give submissive and oral reception to the messages of the Lord as in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, through the channel of disciple succession, such Mudas also become devotees of the Lord by the grace of his pure devotees. And for this reason only, either in the Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord in the material world are delineated for the benefit of those men with a poor fund of knowledge. That's it, Prabhujis and Matajis. The reason for this universal form explanation again in this chapter, and it's going to come again in the third canto, is actually it is really like when I was studying this universal Virat form, I was sharing to Lakshmikant Prabhu. It's really my mind spinning. My mind is going off when I was studying in the earlier chapter 7th or Lord Brahma, the discussion, the explanation by Lord Brahma to Narada Muni. But it really actually brought to me a sweet appreciation for Garbhodaksha Vishnu, actually, for me. He's really like a mother. I mean, it felt to me like a mother giving the child, giving birth to the child. So it really like attracted my heart how much Garbhodaksha Vishnu is doing, literally like creating these elements, and there's a whole process there. Of course, Bhagavatam has presented in summary way, but there's a lot of things goes in the process. And Sukadeva Goswami's plan is that through that explanation, when we go to Krishna's pastimes, the same pastimes, Krishna lifting Govardhan, we know from the childhood of our lives, or like he married 1,105 wives. But when we understand the divinity of the Lord in this material world, wow, those pastimes really like, wow, it is so captivating and so pulling. So yes, we need to do a little hard work on trying to go through these sections, but the purpose is, zooming up the devotion service in mundane hearts, people like me. So that's the essential message for this purport. I can add 2 more or 3 more additional items, supporting items. One is Krishna and his family. They go to some pilgrimage to Kurukshetra for observing solar eclipse. So when they go, it's all before the Rajasuya Yajna and before the Kurukshetra war. So all relatives come together. Queen Kunti comes, Pandavas comes, Nand Maharaj comes, and Rajavasis come. All Madhuravasis, all of the Dwarkavasis with the queens and all Antaraj comes. It's like big festival, and there's a lot happening. And ladies are doing the ladies things and the ladies discussions, and the men are doing the men's discussion. During that time, the sages come. All the sages, they also want to observe the solar eclipse, so they also come to the Kurukshetra. All of these are like Vyasadeva, Parashara Muni, Parashuram, and Narad Muni, and so on. All these great sages. So when the sages come, Krishna very nicely, it was a very nice section. Krishna very nicely welcomes them and tells, the best gift for anyone in this world is the association of you, the great sages, pure sages. Thank you so much. He's just like a common man, common king. He was really like setting an example, how powerful, how wonderful are the pure devotees of the Lord. And then the sages also say, you are the Lord, and actually you are the supreme Lord, but you're setting an example, and so on. And after all this discussion, they are planning to leave. So when they are about to leave, Vasudeva comes in haste and asks some questions to sages. He says, how to purify the reactions through further karma. Like basically, we have did something and we have come here, and then how can I conduct myself so that I can be relieved from the bondage and so on. And so I just say, you have Krishna as a supreme personality God. You have Krishna, the supreme personality Godhead, as his son, and yet you are asking this. Actually, the sages all get a little shocked. And Narada Muni says, Narada Muni tries to help the sages recover from the shock. Don't worry. It is like a person living at the bank of the Ganges. He goes to different pilgrimages to purify himself. So it's like that. Don't worry. Just answer him. And the sages answer Vasudeva's question, how to purify. Basically, it is by pleasing Krishna and sacrifices and so on. And then Vasudeva tells, okay, could you please preside and help me do the sacrifices? And they do the sacrifice, elaborate, very extravagant sacrifices, and leaves. And after everyone leaves, Vasudeva finds Krishna and Balram in privacy, and he submits to Krishna. Now I understand your divinity. You are no more just my son. Actually, you are the both source and cause of this prakriti, the creative energy, he says. So the reason I was trying to share that story is I was also thinking, do I understand the divinity of Krishna? So Vasudeva himself is having such a dilemma, what to speak of common people in this world. That's one part. And the other one is in the third canto, next canto, when Krishna closes all the pastimes, when he was about to leave, he sends Uddhava to go to Badrikashram, but Uddhava cannot handle the separation. He comes back to Krishna, he finds Krishna, and then submits to Krishna, I cannot handle your separation, I will come with you. And Krishna was speaking to Uddhava, and that time Maitreya Muni comes there. Maitreya Muni was not a devotee, but he comes there, and then he gets to speak rest of the almost like two cantos. In the next two cantos was spoken by Maitreya Muni to Vizira. Then I was asking the question to my teacher that he is a not devotee, he's impersonalist. How come he is explaining all this thing? How did it happen? And the answer was the Lord, the exchange between Krishna and Uddhava was like so enchanting. Maitreya Muni just got completely transformed and became qualified and eligible enough to speak on two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the reason for this for these two stories is that yes, when we are going through this Bhagavatam, when we are going through this like mind spinning subject matters, it's really like spins the mind. But Prabhupada was telling in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, that's the way to go back to Godhead. He says, by engaging the mind, we are engaging the mind anyway in many matters like news and all those stuff. And he says, but by studying the scriptures that is given by Vyasdeva and so on, then it is guaranteed to go back to Krishna, to go back to Krishna, spiritual world actually. And Prabhupada was substantiating that statement by Krishna's statement saying that, do not doubt me. That stuck to me when I was reading the introduction of Gita on Gita Jayanti Day. Krishna, Krishna is telling, this is the process, do not doubt it. So that's all, dear devotees. That's, so basically, Garbhadaksha, Mahavishnu is entering into the universe as Garbhadaksha Vishnu, and further things unfold. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Prabhupada explaining why and the reasons and all the essence is our increased devotion to Krishna, or to save us from the absorption in our matter. Okay, thank you. Haribol.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Please accept my humble obeisances again. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Very nice, Prabhu. I just have one question, one or two questions actually. It says, the translation says, after separating the different universes. But actually, when we see the picture of Mahavishnu lying in the causal ocean, and from his the pores of the hairs of his body,
Yeah.
these
Universes
blobs
come.
are coming out, and they are coming out, and they are already independent, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they need further separation? I thought
No.
each of
Those,
that.
those separation is the separation, Mataji.
Huh?
Those different universes is the separation.
Oh,
Making
okay.
sense? Those, it's not one universe that comes out of the body, it's multiple universes.
Multiple.
Krishna,
Oh, okay. That.
Mahavishnu separated, and then
Uh,
this
that
after that
process.
is solved after that is what it is after separating.
Okay.
So the explanation is
Uh,
Mahavishnu is always one, but the Garbhodaksha Vishnu is equal to
yeah.
the number of universes.
Yes, equal to the number of universes. Um, so it says the Mahavishnu gets out of that causal ocean and enters into each and every one of these.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Mahavishnu, he's I mean, he's eternally there as an expansion of the Lord, you would think that I mean, he's also there, right?
Yeah.
Along with all the Garbhodakashayi Vishnus, right?
So the answer is why not? And the other part is also Sukadeva Goswami poetic. It's a poetic expression. Yeah. So Mahavishnu is always in the causal ocean.
Yeah.
So that's how we're saying.
Okay.
Which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purusha avatar.
Yeah.
So it can also say it's not eternal, but it's also eternal.
Yeah. Okay. And then Prabhu, recently when I was going through Lord Kapila's teachings, I came across this verse which says that if you worship Garbhodakashayi Vishnu as your deity, then you don't get liberation, or you don't get liberation until when Lord Brahma is going back. That is those who worship Garbhodakashayi Vishnu as their deity. They don't get liberation until along with the Lord Brahma, it says in that verse. Is that true?
I don't know the details, but it makes sense. I remember reading it a long time back. So the basic idea is the worshipful deity for Lord Brahma is obviously Garbhodakashayi Vishnu.
Okay.
Right? And all the residents are the followers of Lord Brahma. Residents of Satyalok are the followers of Lord Brahma.
Okay.
And it's just natural. You don't go like I come to help a function at your home. I don't go until you wrap up. We wrap up everything.
Oh, okay. But then, Prabhuji, my question is, I mean, okay, people worship Lord Vishnu, chant Vishnu Sahasranama, everything. They may not differentiate between the Purusha avatars. I'm just one. I mean, ordinarily people may not. I'm thinking about that aspect, but I understand. Then Lord Kapila
It is true now, Mataji. Krishna also tells, right? Yeah, yata ma prapadyante. That one.
I mean, I understand from what you said that this is directed at the residents of Satyaloka itself. Okay. Then it makes sense. Thank you.
The people chanting in this verse, I don't know, chanting the verse in this world, I don't know how effective it is, because two reasons. One reason is the Shastric reference is, so many Sahasranams equal to Vishnu Sahasranam is equal to Vishnu Sahasranam, thousands of names of Vishnu equal to Rama, and Rama's name, multiple times is equal to Krishna. Right. And also in this part, Prabhupada is telling the main channel is through the chain of disciplic succession. That's how the Modas can become the devotees of the Lord.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, this is a follow-up question to what Sandhya Mataji was asking. Now, we know that the Sri Rangam deity of the Lord, Ranganatha Swami, was actually a worshipable deity of, Brahma, Lord Brahma. And actually,
Yeah.
he's also in the laying down,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
came to Lord Ramachandra and,
Yeah.
finally. So all these devotees who are worshipping Sri Rangam, including Ramanujacharya and others.
Yeah.
So all of them are now in one way or the other waiting in Satyaloka, and then when Brahma departs the material world, that is
No,
when.
not
Yeah. Thank you,
necessary.
Prabhuji. Please go ahead and
No, that is. I don't think so, Prabhu. At least, as per Shiva Vaishnava tradition, that is not the way. I never heard the explanation like that. Whoever is in the Brahmaloka, it makes sense.
No, but just now when you were explaining to Sandhya Mataji, you said anyone who is going to worship Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, they are going to have to wait until.
But they are also not there in the devotees in the Srirangam are also not worshipping as Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there are technical details involved, but essentially what I was trying to say is, Prabhu, so in the Satya Loka, Brahma worshipable deity is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and obviously the followers also, the residents also. So they will all go back when Brahma is going back.
Yeah, Prabhuji. I understand that. I don't want to extend this. Maybe we can
Yeah.
take it offline.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just, that's why I drew the, the connection that this deity that we are talking about right now, Sri Rangam, was the worshipful deity of Lord Brahma, who gave it to Lord Ramachandra and who gave it to, Vibhushana, and somehow or the other, the deity landed up in Sri Rangam. So it being the same deity that the Lord Brahma was worshipping, it is not any different from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, including the pose in which the deity is. And that is where I'm asking my question. But anyway, if you think maybe we can take it offline and talk about it.
Sure, Prabhu. Okay, it's 8:15. So, Hare Krishna, anyone wants to share anything quickly? Some Krishna consciousness? No. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol.